What's up, guys? Today we are going to talk about building these cedar shutters. So pretty simple, straightforward process. I'll walk you guys through what we used for material and how we ripped it down, how we are assembling them, and then attaching them to the house. So let's jump into it. Alright, so we are doing a remodel on this duplex, and it might be a little hard to tell, but we've got a vinyl cedar shake up in the peaks, and we brought that color down with the shutters here on all of the windows. We're going to do all of them all the way around, not just the fronts. So pretty simple. So shutters have kind of a somewhat follow the rules equation, so most of them are somewhere about 15 inches wide. So what we did was we ripped our cedar down into 5-inch boards. That also helped to take the really rough cut off of the sides and get everything straight, and then space them out with like a paint stick or Nichols work, but just something to give that little bit of a shadow line in the back. On the taller shutters, we have two different size windows. We've got the 54s, and then we've got, I believe those ones are 42s. So on the 54s, I cut them all a little bit taller than the J channel. So in this case, I measured the J channel from here to the top, and then I added 1 inch, so I had a 1/2 inch overhang on the top and bottom. On the tall shutters, I made the crossbars 3 inches, and on the narrower shutters they're at 2.5, so everything looks proportional. So that is the breakdown. I'm going to attach a couple of time-lapse videos of assembling them. The assembly process is pretty simple. You'll see me put a bead of PL construction adhesive on the back side, and then I put 3 brads into each picket. They are 16 gauge stainless steel brads, that way they don't rust out and leave watermarks. And then these are 3-inch GRK stainless steel screws. So they're not cheap, they're like 17 bucks for a little baby pack, and depending on how many shutters you need, you might need 2 of them, but it'll keep the water, if these were galvanized or steel or something, or drywall screws or whatever else people use, over time when they rust, you'll start to see little drips coming from the fasteners. So everything is stainless steel on these, that way they will stand the test of time. The 16 gauge brads are 1.25 inches, that way they don't peek through. I would have preferred to use 15 gauge nails, but I could not find them in stainless steel at 1.25 inches long. So that's the overview. Let's build these and let's get the rest of them on the house. So the first step in the process is to break down the cedar and take 1 edge through the table saw. That gets rid of the rough cut and gives us a nice straight edge to start. So maybe our first battery change, putting in another 12.0. So each board is getting 3 rips, the first one to clean up an edge, and then a 5-inch board and a 5-inch board, so that's 3 rips per thing. It cut 9 boards continuous, so 9 boards at 6 feet a rip, times 3 rips is like 170 feet maybe it did on 1 battery continuous. So maybe have to have lots of 12.0s running around. The next step you'll see, we'll take each board that we previously ripped and we'll send it through the saw twice for 2 5-inch pieces, and the drop will make it into the garbage can that is leaning up against my truck. By the way, you'll notice that these are actually 6-foot fence pickets that we're using here, and it's super windy out. The next operation on the list is to start chopping all of our 5-inch pieces down into the appropriate lengths for each window. So there was a bunch of windows of one size and then a bunch of windows of a second size. So what I did was I measured the J channel top to bottom like I showed earlier in the video, and then added 1 inch, so we had a 1/2 inch overlap on the top and bottom. I started off cutting 1 by 1, decided that was just a little too slow, so I found out that I could cut 3 at a time pretty easily with the 12-inch Milwaukee miter box. So that worked out pretty well and got me through the process a little faster. You'll see I've moved over to the table saw at this point, and I'm cutting down a bunch of small pieces of wood. Those are going to be the horizontal pieces on each shutter. Continuing on in the shutter saga, they did quite a bit of staining, so it's a real light woodscapes from Sherwin, but it matches the shake really nice. So they're gonna start on some siding, and I'm gonna start assembling. So the back side has 1 coat, the front side has 2. Everything is polished and ready to go, so I'm gonna set up and start assembling these guys. So you'll notice that I have a few paint sticks in between the pieces of wood for the shutter. I decided that that didn't really work out that well. I ended up just eyeballing them, and I thought that worked out a lot better. Some of the boards have a slight crook in it, so the paint stick would kind of magnify that by one end of the board or the other. So I just lined them up. I put my horizontal pieces on and measure up from the top and bottom, make some marks, glue them down, and then shoot them with those 16 gauge 1¼ inch stainless steel brads. You'll also notice in this video that I didn't cover the staining process at all. That is because I lucked out and the customer did all of the staining for me. So I milled up all the boards, and over the weekend she was able to stain them all out. 2 coats on the front, 1 on the back, which was plenty fine. So I showed up on a Monday and I was able to just jump right into assembly. Saved a ton of time by not staining these. That was really epic on the customer's part. The last step that I took with these shutters that may have been a little overkill, but I think it was worth it, was to flip them all over and add some 1-inch stainless screws from the back that will go into the horizontal members on the shutters, just to help kind of suck everything together and make sure that it stays in place for the long haul. Last step was to pre-drill each one and get it prepped for hanging on the house. That was pretty simple. Like I said earlier too, we used the 3-inch stainless steel GRKs to mount them up. I unfortunately did not hit the record button when I started hanging these on the GoPro, so I don't have any footage of that. But I do have a couple pictures, and I will go ahead and throw those up at the end so that you guys can see what it's all about. Here's that part where I was talking about those 1-inch stainless screws. Pretty quick and easy on this. So this is a pretty simple project. I guess this is a how-to or how-I video, but I hope this helps if you guys are interested in building something like this. Here's a couple before and after shots. I think it turned out pretty not too bad. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.